Right now in the Greater Toronto Area, there are about 30,000 active listings or homes for sale. In the last 30 days, only about 5,000 of them have actually sold. So that means we've officially got 6 months of inventory. And if you know real estate, that only means one thing: buyer's market. But the story changes a little bit when you zoom into Durham region, and what's happening here might surprise you. If we haven't met, my name is Durham. I'm a real estate broker here in the Greater Toronto Area. If this video helps, I want you to like and subscribe so we can break down what's actually happening here in the Greater Toronto Area and what you can expect as a potential buyer or a seller. So let's do a quick overview of the entire GTA. Now, currently there's about 30,000 active listings as of right now, and about 5,000 of them have actually sold in the last 30 days. So with a 6 months of inventory, it's clear that we are in a buyer's market territory. Now, with that said, the condo market is actually performing worse than the freehold segment, and the freehold is actually doing a little bit better relative to the condo side. But regardless, overall, the market, if you were to describe it in one word, it would be slow. Now, sales are up slightly compared to the same time last year, but compared to August or the previous month, we're pretty much unchanged. And a lot of people are wondering about prices, right? So what about the prices? Well, the prices are also pretty much unchanged, except that we did see a slight uptick, about a 2% uptick compared to August. Now, I'm going to show you this chart right here, and this tracks the active listings across the GTA for this whole year, right? So if you notice right here, we started off the year with a relatively low amount of active listings, just like any other year. Then we saw, active listings slowly climb. Now, if you remember, in the beginning of the year, if I were to describe the January, February, and March markets, it's almost like the spring market happened in January, right? There were a lot more buyers that coming out of the gates. We had a couple of rate cuts, so maybe buyers were more optimistic in the beginning of the year. Now, what happened next was home prices peaked in May of this year. Okay, that's for the GTA. Now, in the Durham region, home prices peaked in March. But for the rest of the GTA, it was May. So then what happened was a lot of sellers then thought the market was recovering, so they listed their properties all at the same time. And that's what happened. If you notice, there was a sharp increase in inventory around June. And as a matter of fact, active listings in all of the GTA hit over 32,000, which was a record number, right? We've never seen anything like it. And what happened was the inverse effect on prices. Active listings shot through the roof, and prices started to come down. This is why I always track the active listings, because through active listings, you find out months of inventory. And if you know anything about real estate, months of inventory is the single most important metric when you're looking at prices, or you just want to know, or you want to predict where prices are actually going. And then we saw a slight dip in active inventory, which was August, where sellers took their houses off the market and they didn't relist, right? They didn't relist up until September. Then we started seeing inventory go up again because those sellers came back to the market. Now, as of me making this video right now, we're sitting at just over 30,000 active listings, but we will monitor this in the coming weeks and I'll update you accordingly. Now, what is happening in the Durham region? So Durham region is doing something similar, but also a little different. You see, prices in the Durham region are also up a little bit compared to August. Slight uptick in prices. And when I say Durham region, for the most part, I'm looking at Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, and Clarington. In September, active listings and new listings both went up, right? That's the same case for pretty much everywhere in the GTA. But the difference here in the Durham region is that number of home sales have gone down drastically. So as you can see from this chart, number of home sales have been coming down, right? You can just see it just fell off the cliff right here. The issue with this is right now, we haven't seen the effect of this on prices yet, right? The prices are trading sideways, and as a matter of fact, it went up slightly in September. But if this trend continues in the coming weeks or even in the next couple of months, the prices will have nowhere to go but down, because sales are weak, and if active listings continue to pile up, it's not good news for prices. And let's talk about interest rates for a second. So Bank of Canada just cut interest rates by 25 basis points, or 0.25% 2 weeks ago. And there's one more Bank of Canada meeting at the end of October, and then there's another one in December. So there's 2 more meetings, and analysts are expecting Bank of Canada to cut rates by at least once between those 2 meetings. Now, every move on rates is going to affect buyer confidence, it's going to affect affordability, and it's going to affect how fast or how slowly this inventory gets absorbed. You have to remember that the variable rates move with prime rates, and the prime rates follow Bank of Canada's overnight lending rate. So if Bank of Canada cuts interest rates, the prime rate will come down, so your variable rate could also come down as well. But fixed mortgage rates don't follow Bank of Canada. The fixed rates actually follow the Canadian government bond yields. So if the bond yields don't go down, the fixed rates don't go down either. So what I'm trying to say is, even if Bank of Canada cuts interest rates, the fixed rates might not move. And here's what we know. A lot of Canadians have mortgages coming up for renewal in 2025 and in 2026. And according to Bank of Canada and some economists and analysts, that over 60% of these people, or 60% of these mortgages, will be faced with higher payments on renewal. So even though the Bank of Canada is cutting rates right now, the payment shock will still be there on renewal. So here are my recommendations for buyers and sellers. If you're a buyer right now, get yourself a fresh pre-approval, because Bank of Canada just cut interest rates, and certain banks and lenders are running promotional interest rates on mortgages, so you might be able to get a better rate. And buyers, get those conditions in, right? Like, do your financing condition. Inspect the property thoroughly. This is your time to really pick and choose and nitpick properties to get the best deal possible. And last but not least, make sure you know your numbers. We know the economy isn't so hot. We know the inflation is still there. Things are getting expensive. The last thing you want is buy a home and become house poor. So run your numbers, make sure you know what you're getting into, and that will save you a lot of headache in the future. And if you are a seller, price your home and price it to today, not last year, not earlier this year, not the spring market. It is now. If you're a seller, you may be waiting for a better market, right? So it's either that you stay out and you wait for the market to improve, but if you do want to sell or you want to make a move right now, you got to price it well, and you got to make sure that your home shows well. Take nice photos, do any minor cleanups. If you have to paint, do that. Change your light fixtures, make sure your flooring, kitchen, all that stuff looks as best as it possibly can, because that and all that will matter, especially with this many homes for sale. And last but not least, if you have the extra time, either yourself or the real estate agent that you hire should be tracking the market in the next couple of weeks, right? We are in October right now. Let's see what happens with the inventory the next little bit. Are buyers going to be out there looking again? Are things going to get slower? But what's going to happen with active listings and new listings and prices? Just keep an eye on it to see where things go, and of course on Bank of Canada's next rate decision. And that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to talk to me personally about your real estate plans, you can book a meeting or a discovery call through the link in my bio. With that said, until next time.